Rambam, continue in the 12th book, Sefer Kinyan, acquisitions, interesting laws. We're doing the laws of Schio Matana. Now we're doing about gifts. So interesting law about gifts that was back in the day. It's not really something today, about marriage, a certain marriage custom. So we're in chapter 7. In the first halacha, it is universally accepted custom in most countries, universally in most countries. Right. In other words, in those countries where it's accepted, it's universally accepted, right? What's accepted? Can let Andrew in. Thanks. That when a man marries, his friends and acquaintances send him money to support the expenses he must undertake on behalf of his wife. Amazing, right? Real communal effort. Then the friends and acquaintances who send the money come and eat and drink with the groom during all or part of the 7 days of wedding celebration. Amazing. It's almost like your entry ticket, You're paying for he's going to make a festive meal and everything. You found? Okay, good.
I brought some dark ones and like.
Okay. So it's almost like, your entry, he's got to make a festive meal, and it's a 7-day celebration with Sheva brachas, not just the wedding itself. Which, by the way, we learned in Parshas Vayetze when Yaakov married first Leah, then he had to wait 7 days to marry Rachel. In order to celebrate 7 days with Leah, and then he can marry Rachel. So whether someone's coming for all or part of the 7-day celebration, everything should be done according to the accepted local custom. So it's about a local custom, right? The money that he sent is called shushvinus.
How do you pronounce it?
Shushvinut. And the people who send the money and then come to eat and drink with the groom are called shushvinin. That's what they're called. Okay? Now, listen to this. Shushvinut, right, the money that you send, is not an outright gift. For it is plainly obvious that a person did not send a colleague 10 dinarim, for example, with the intent that he drink and eat and drink a zuz's worth. A zuz is much less, right? So it's not really an entry fee, right? In other words, you're not paying, when you go to a restaurant, you're paying for what they charge you for the restaurant, or whatever the costs are, right? If you're sharing costs. No, you're not sharing. You're giving a lot more than what you actually ate. So he sent him the money solely because the intent was that he would marry and he would send him money as he has sent him. So these are the bachelors, right? Then my friend is getting married, so I'm sending 10 dinarim, knowing that, with God's help, I'm going to get married this year, and he's going to do the same thing. So what you're doing is really supporting each other in marriage, right? Because it's a big bill that comes all at once. So this way, if all the friends, help out, so you're taking away some of the burden. Therefore, if the sender marries a woman and the recipient does not return the shushvina, the sender may lodge a legal claim against the recipient and expropriate the money from him. Wow. So he can make a claim against him because, again, remember that this was the custom. If it's not the custom, so that's a different story, right? But this was the custom back in the day. Today it's not. But it doesn't matter. It's part of Torah. Right. Number 3, he cannot lodge a claim against him unless he marries in the same way as he did. What does it imply? If Reuven married a maiden and Shimon sent him Shushvinin, and then Shimon married a widow, Shimon cannot demand that he return the Shushvina, for he will tell them, I will return to you only for a maiden as you gave me. Conversely, if the giver sent the recipient Shushvina for a marriage of a widow, he cannot demand that he be returned for the marriage of a maiden. Right? In other words, what you did is what you get back, so to speak, right? If number four, if Reuven made a large public reception while Shimon made a modest private affair, or Reuven married modestly and Shimon made a public affair, he cannot lodge a claim against him. For he can tell him, I will not do for you anything else than what you did for me, right? You gave me 10 because I'm making a huge party. Yeah, but you're making only for, 30 people. I made for 300 people. So you can't lodge a complaint. The fact that he gave you less. Now, the way I'm understanding this is if you gave nothing back, then you could lodge a complaint at least for that part, right? But you didn't give an equal amount back, so you can make that claim. You can't make that claim, that it's an equal amount because you're not doing an equal thing. Number five, Reuven married a woman, and Shimon sent him Shushvina, and came and ate and drank with him. Afterwards, Shimon married in the precisely the same manner as Reuven did. And Reuven came and ate and drank with him. Or Shimon called Reuven, and he did not desire to come. Or Reuven was in a city and heard the herald in a place where it's not customary to give private invitations, but rather everyone who hears the announcements comes. In other words, right, private invitation is then to give Shushvina. If it's public invitation, then it's not that way. And Reuven heard the announcement and yet did not come. Reuven is obligated to return the entire amount of Shushvina, right? Because he was there, he was capable of doing it, and he didn't. For he knew about the wedding, he did not come, or he was given a private invitation in a place where it is the custom, and yet he did not come. He was given private invitation, or he was there and he didn't come, so now he has to return it. He did not give back, right? Again, that was the custom.
He can't get out of it just because he's not coming to the event.
He was there, right? Now, number six, if Reuven was not in the city when Shimon married, he may deduct the cost of the food that Shimon ate at his wedding feast, but must return to him the remainder of the Shushvinim. He wasn't there. So you're not obliged, I guess. That's interesting. Right. So what he ate, you're deducting. You kind of paid for that, right? But the remainder has to be returned. If he was in the city and didn't come, so he doesn't even get the food back that he ate, right? Because there's no excuse for him not to come. Now, if there's other excuses, whatever, I don't know, like, his wife was in labor and had to, and there was a problem or something like this, or, he couldn't come for whatever reason. I don't know how that works. Right. I'm putting all things equal. That's the way I understand this. Similarly, if Reuven was in the city when Shimon married and he did not invite him or notify him, he may make such a deduction. Moreover, he has a justified complaint, for he should have notified him. So that's interesting. He has a justified complaint, but he still has to give back. He has to give back over and above, right, what he ate. Reuven was in the city when Shimon got married, right? Reuven first got married, right? Now Shimon's getting married. He was in the city, but he didn't get an invitation. So he can make the deduction of the food that he ate. Yeah, he didn't go.
But he still has to.
He still, because remember, the reason why you're giving this money is to help your friend in the wedding, to help reduce, the magnificent cost, but with the intention that when I'm making my wedding, you're going to do the same for me. Ah, you didn't invite me. It doesn't matter. I gave them money with that intention. So I want, even though you didn't come, well, give me back the money. Give me the money too. Right? So the fact now that you didn't invite me, so at least I get the deduction of what I ate. Right? How much money should he deduct? These are the deduction customers made. If Shimon sent him only a dinner, he should not return anything to him, for the dinner is the cost of what he ate. If Shimon sent him between a dinner and a sela, half should be deducted. Okay. If he gave him more than a sela, we must assess the intent of the sender and the size of the shushvin. If he is a prestigious person, half of what he gave is deducted. If he is tight-fisted and keeps careful account of his expenditures, only what he ate and drank should be deducted, and he must pay him the remainder. Wow. So it's really, sizing up the situation over here. Prestigious means over here that he's very generous.
Which generous, the one who didn't come or the one who?
No, we're talking about the one who didn't come. We're only talking about the one who didn't come, right? That's the issue, right? How much he has to give back. So since he's a generous person, half of what he gave is deducted. So we figure that he's generous. So the fact that he'll get a bit less back, we feel he's okay with that. Because that's what he had in mind. He's a generous person. So the fact that he'll only get back, he didn't come back. He didn't come to his wedding, right? But he's a generous guy. So he's only going to half back. He's going to be okay with that. But the tight-fisted guy was very careful with his accounts. He's going to get back more because when he gave, his intent was, I'm giving because I know I'm getting back exactly, what I gave. So that way, that person is actually going to get more because it's the intent of when you gave, what are you gifting and what are you not gifting, right? What are you expecting in return and what are you not expecting in return? That's what it's based on. Phenomenal. If he gave more than a sela, we must assess the intent of the sender. Yeah. Sorry, we just did that. If Shimon dies before he marries, right? So remember, Shimon is the one who went. Reuven is the one that got first married, right? Shimon came. Now Shimon dies before he marries, or he marries and dies in the midst of the wedding celebration. Reuven is not required to give anything to his heirs, for he can tell the heirs, "Bring me my shushvini. I will gladly celebrate with him and pay my due." This is, it's not part of the inheritance. It's about the celebration and making it easier for that person to make the celebration. It's not about the heirs. So he's not required to give anything. Therefore, if Reuven rejoiced with Shimon, and after Shimon died, Shimon invited him to the wedding and he did not come. Reuben is not in the city at the time of Shimon's wedding, or he did not notify him. Since Shimon died after the days of rejoicing were concluded, Reuben is obligated to return the Shushmina to Shimon's heirs, either in its entirety or after the deduction has been made. If he did not notify him, or if he was not in the city. So now it's different though. In other words, since Shimon, the point over here is, before in the previous halacha, Shimon died either before getting married, right, or even during the wedding celebrations. He's not required. But once the celebration is over and then he died, and Reuven did not participate in whatever manner, right? Whatever, whether because he wasn't in the city or, whatever the manner is, right? Or he wasn't notified, doesn't matter. It's already belonging to Shimon. There's already something that's belonging to Shimon. Therefore, we'll go to the heirs because it's belonging to him. In the previous halacha, it wasn't belonging yet to him because it was before getting married, that he didn't get married, he died, or during the celebration. During the celebration, it was still possible for him to come and celebrate. So it wasn't yet something, right? Because it's for the 7 days. It's not just for the wedding itself. They make it for the wedding, so he made it, on the third day of the celebration, but he died on the second day. Right? That's why it says over here, I will gladly celebrate, bring him, well, he died, so you can't bring him. In other words, he didn't have the obligation yet until the whole celebration is over. Then there's an obligation that you did not fulfill, and therefore it's owed. How much owed? What, that's already a question, but there's something owed here. Different rules apply if Reuven died and then Shimon married a woman and the days of rejoicing were concluded. If the local custom is that to collect the Shushvina from the heirs, Reuven's heirs are compelled to return the Shushvina in a place where it's not the local custom. Reuven's heirs are not obligated to pay anything. Right? So Reuven, who first got married and he had to now come and celebrate, if there's interesting. He dies, there's still some kind of obligation on him. So then it becomes based on local custom. Wow. Okay. If Reuven died after Shimon married a woman and the days of rejoicing were concluded, Reuven's heirs are compelled to pay the Shushan regardless of the locale in which they live. For the testator was obligated to pay before his death because he was already obliged. Reuven didn't come and celebrate with Shimon, right? And he died after the days of rejoicing, after the 7 days were concluded. So that means there's an obligation. Now he died. So now it doesn't matter what the custom is because there's an obligation here, and therefore he has to pay. The heirs have to pay. If he's required to pay the entire sum, they must pay that amount. If the deduction was made, the deduction also applies to them. Again, it will depend. If it was outside of, he wasn't in the city that time. So then you could take the food off, depending on what the circumstances we learned earlier. 5 statements were made concerning Shishvinas. 13. It may be expropriated by the court of law, for it is only like a loan and not an outright gift, right? Not an outright gift, it's like a loan. 2, it need be repaid only at the time required. When the marriage is held in the same manner as the first person's marriage, this is like a condition of the loan, although he did not explicitly state that he was giving the loan with this intent, right? That's what's implied, right? Similar conditions. 3, the prohibition against taking interest is not involved. Even if the person sent the colleague a dinner and the colleague sent him 10, it's permissible. The rationale is that you not send him with the intent that he add. Right. I'm sending you whatever I'm sending you. The fact that you sending me more, right, is not called interest. 4, it is not nullified in the sabbatical year. The rationale is the giver may not demand payment from the recipient until he marries in the same manner that as he married. So it's all considered a loan because sabbatical year, all loans are reverted, right? Unless you give it to be held by the court, the obligation of the loan, right? So sabbatical year doesn't nullify it because there isn't it's not an outright loan because it's only a loan if the other guy got married. Now the loan has to be paid. So it's not like inherently a loan. So right, and only if he marries in the same manner. Wow. 5, the firstborn does not receive a double portion when the shushvina is returned to the giver's heirs. The rationale is that at the time of the division of the estate, it is not an actual part of the estate, but rather roy, fitting, roy. And the firstborn does not receive a double portion, roya, as will be explained with regard to the subject. Right, so this part is not a double portion for the firstborn. Okay. When a person offers a colleague money, when the latter's financial status suffers, the intended recipient refuses to take it, and the giver takes an oath that he is unwilling that the recipient not accept it, and he presses the recipient until he accepts it, even though the giver did not say so explicitly. Money is considered to be a gift. Same laws apply when the person sends gifts of food to a colleague or offers other similar forms of generosity. The giver may not retract the demand and demand repayment unless he explicitly states that he's making the gift as a loan. Right. So now we're off on a different point, right? Not about marriage now. So the fact that he's pressing him to take it means it's an outright gift. Interesting. Okay, last halacha in chapter 7. When a person sends jugs of wine or oil to a colleague at the time of wedding, he may not demand repayment in court. These gifts are considered as deeds of kindness, and the laws of Shushvin apply only to money. Fascinating. Okay. Just in chapter 8, for the first halacha, just the blind, lame, and or handless person, and similarly one who feels pain in his head, his eye, his hand and foot, or the like, is considered to be a healthy person with regard to all matters concerned with his purchases, sales, or gifts that he gives. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. There's when are you of capacity to make a sale, to make a gift, and so on is the point of here. All right, folks, amazing. Thank you. For Hanukkah.